Hello everyone, how are we today? Today we're going to talk about strategic marketing, and I'm really excited to start the week talking about this topic because I think it's super important that we have our brand aligned with or strategy, right? So I'm going to explain today about a client that I used to have in the past while I was working. Rian is joining. Hello, Rian. Thank you for coming. So I was working in a very big marketing agency back in Andorra. So for those who don't know Andorra, it's a tiny country between Spain and France. And basically it's a country that it's very seasonal. It is most of the time it's winter in there. For those who love the mountains and skiing, it's a great place. And we had a client. It was not a social enterprise, so I just want to put this for you. If you are thinking I'm just going to feature social enterprises, it's not the case when it comes to putting study cases, because most of my experience in my past life, it's just with corporates, okay? But I think it's really relevant, this study case, because it was kind of a very smart way we came up to find a solution for their marketing strategy. So how we did it is basically this client was a huge luxury hotel. The name was Andorra Park Hotel. As you can imagine, being a very seasonal country, there are many hotels in the area. What was good about this hotel in particular is that it was based right in the center of Andorra. So it had a great location, especially for those who like to go shopping and just visiting the center of the city. But also it had an issue, which was that being Andorra super seasonal, and when it came to the warmer month, no one was really going there. So basically this hotel wanted to fill in, and not just for the rooms, but it also wanted to fill in for the amazing installations. It had a great outdoor and indoor swimming pool, gym installations. It had a beautiful restaurant which was gastronomic. It had these beautiful gardens that was so suitable to host events, including weddings, etc. So what we did, helping ourselves with the benchmarking technique, which I would share a whole other day, because I don't want to get out of the track of the strategic marketing thinking. We basically, that technique helped us to find this 0.02% of the DNA. And that was that probably this hotel had the best installations in the country, but yet it was empty during many days or months through the year. Okay, and that obviously was not good for the brand, and was not good for the making money, right? So basically, what we did is doing this benchmarking analysis and realizing that why citizens weren't really going to use those installations. So first of all, not many people knew about the hotel, even being in the center of the city. If they knew about it, they just thought it was an hotel like any other hotel that obviously citizens would not use because they had their own houses, so they don't really need to get a hotel, right? But the big thing was that for them, the brand meant luxury. And we had to change their minds. Like, for them to go to those installations and really make a good use to the place, and consider it as an option for you to hang out or use as an entertaining place, we had to change the mindset of the people. Okay, and we had to change the concept from luxury to move it towards affordable luxury. So what we did is redesign the whole marketing plan. At the moment, we're just doing like social media posts and just like very simple things that any hotel would be doing. And we implemented a whole new different actions and events to this five-star hotel and restaurant. So people could change their mindset around what that hotel was all about. So we came up with a series of events, and I'm going to explain more in depth what we did, so you probably get a concept on how strategic thinking can help to reposition a brand. Hi Sarah, thank you so much for joining. We're just talking about strategic marketing now, and I'm just putting as an example this luxury hotel in Andorra, that country where I used to live. And basically, so we came up with all these different actions to make sure we got more people coming to the installations. So what we did was starting with a summer event, and that was during 3 months in the summer season in Andorra. So that is basically June, July, and August. We were organizing the gardens of the park. That's the literal translation. It sounds much nicer in Catalan. And that was a gathering held in the summer season where we got involved all the different wineries of the country. Also, some of them were coming from Spain. And we put in their live music. All the food was coming from the amazing gastronomic restaurant. And then people could just come there for a very small fee and enjoy a beautiful afternoon in the gardens, and they would have a taste of the food, and then all these different wineries and bottle shops could just advertise themselves and different cocktails and stuff like that. So that obviously created a huge amount of traffic to the installations, and then once a week we would have an afternoon, this hotel filled in with a very nice event. But obviously we could only do this in summer because otherwise it was going to be very cold. Another thing we came up with was organizing the first wedding event in the country. Okay, it is a small country, but what happened is that most of the people in the country would go into Barcelona to get married. Okay, so that's 2.5 hours away. People just had the conception that getting married in an hotel in Andorra was very expensive. So what we did was organize this first wedding fair. And what we did is getting all the different brands and shops in the country involved. We commercialized the exhibition area. We organized a lot of activities for the day, and we had a super huge communication plan set up. So we got a lot of media coming to cover the event and talk about it. So as you can imagine, that was a lot of PR and free advertising for this hotel. And also because we hosted the first wedding fair, and that was already something very innovative. What happened is that, of course, this fair was for the people. So we suddenly, in one weekend, so 2 days event, more than 300 people came to the Andorra Park Hotel, and these were citizens. And all these people, why, if they're coming to a wedding fair, as you can imagine, it's because they're thinking of getting married at some point. So these were actually potential customers for the hotel to host a wedding event. Okay, so that was really great. Another event we came up with And that was like the version of the gardens in the park. In the summer season, we converted that in art and wine. And that was a combination of art, exhibition of art of the different artists that were not just from Andorra, but different areas in Catalonia, combined with food again, and also wine. So the best sellers in the country were again getting involved to make this event. It was a very kind of luxurious but yet affordable again event where you could taste the most amazing food and matching it with the wine while you enjoy wedding exhibition. Okay, and then what we were doing is it wasn't just about the food at that restaurant, but we were inviting restaurants and amazing, well-known chefs from all over Spain. So you can imagine how yummy the food could be if you gathered the very best chefs in Spain coming to your restaurant. That was huge when it comes to PR, and also when it comes to getting your name out there as your chef in your restaurant is a friend, or works together with all these different chefs that everyone knows. So that was a very good thing. It also helped to fill in the restaurant, and when I say fill in, that was like really filling in. If the restaurant had a capacity of 120 people, I'm telling you, we were filling in every week. Okay. And then here's like the cherry on the top of the cake, because what we did, we created a magazine, and I'm super proud of this because it was again the first magazine in the country, and it was a first gastronomic magazine of the country, and it was beautifully designed by my friend Dinah Pratt. She's based in Andorra, so she's an amazing designer too. And so I was the director of the contents, and she was the designer. We worked alongside together so all the different contents that were coming up of the art and wine, the wedding fair, and all the different events that were held in Andorra Park Hotel, we were featuring it in that magazine. Of course, it was not all about Andorra Park Hotel, because the aim was people to become more interested about gastronomic topics, and we would just also interview chefs. We would share recipes from the Andorra Park Hotel that you could just create in the kitchen, in your own kitchen, and it was really nice. We got a lot of PR out of this as well. So all the different media platforms or media news businesses, whether it was radio, newspaper, television, they featured this magazine because it was the first one and it was really genuine. It was kind of sponsored by the hotel, so it meant that they were paying for the printing, but we were commercializing all the different spaces for other businesses, restaurants, cafes in the country, so they could be in there. And the great thing is that this magazine, compared with many other magazines in the country, it was really nice. So it would be, beautiful contents, great design, and it was really different from anything that was available. So another big thing we did, it was audiovisual production. And here's a bit of very important thing for you to understand when it comes to strategic marketing is how can we cross all the different elements. So we did this audiovisual production to showcase what all this hotel was about, all the installations, and also to eventually attract more people who would like to marry in this place. So of course this audiovisual production was then created in a DVD that was given away in the fair in the wedding fair. If we had the wedding fair, we were going to create a couple of pages on this magazine just so they could be aware that this event was held. So it's super important that in your strategic plan you make the different elements come together so you can reutilize your resources. Okay. So these were the big things when it comes to events. What are the things wrapping up we did for this hotel? We did a lot of content creation, so we did a lot of blogging, social media, corporate and event news that were featured in other magazines as well as on their own channels of the hotel. So of course, as you can imagine, all these different events were giving me so much content to write about, because at some point, if you have any business and you never have anything new happening, at some point you don't know anymore what you're going to be talking about. You can't do self-promotion all the time and say how beautiful our gardens are, or look at this picture, or look at the gym. But if you're actually making events happening right in your business, then that's content that you could deliver, and that's way better than just talking in the mono theme all the time. For every single event and every single thing we did, so in as I said with the magazine, we were creating a whole media and PR plan. So that included, and I'll talk one day about just PR, but we were creating press releases, press conferences, we were doing advertising, we had presence on the TV, radio, digital and paper press. We also because we had a client that were the cinemas of the country, we were just creating advertising so we could just put that there. So we basically created a whole synergy around our marketing plan. And as I already said, we had all these different partnership agreements. It was a great director back then in the hotel, and he was just talking to all the suppliers, different local businesses that would be interested in getting involved in the different events. Then as well, there was a super important TV show in Spain, in one of the biggest channels in the country, that was really interested in learning more about what Andorra Park Hotel was all about. So they came to the country to record the program there, and that is really that was a very important thing, because suddenly we were featured in the biggest channel. Okay, so I'm having here a question from Sarah. She's saying, "Hi Sarah, thank you so much for your question. Sounds pretty amazing. I might need to pick up your brain for some ideas for my new project with the bar and restaurant with my clothes shop. I want to do some functions and events there. No, I'm not based in Sydney, but I could definitely be helping you here from Melbourne, if that sounds good." And Sarah has a second-hand clothing shop, but it's not just like a normal clothing shop. We just very recently featured her business at ourgoodbrands.com, which is the media platform for ethical businesses, and she has a super interesting, innovative business model that also involves renting of the clothes and swapping. It's a really different way of shopping secondhand. It's a different concept, and now she had to change shops, and she has partnered up with a cafe and restaurant to come up with to just share, I guess, the space. And I think that's super innovative and super smart, because that all the people who are coming up to the cafe, suddenly they would be very interested in just in insane, like, oh wow, after this coffee, let's just like see what nice clothing we have in there. So that was very smart, Sarah. And definitely there are many different ways where you could organize events and keep into this loop of innovation, hosting and collaborating with other companies. And that would give you a massive opportunity to practice more PR. And I'm sure you'll be featured in different digital newspapers. You could even be featured in the radio, and we could set up a whole PR plan for you. So amazing, Sarah. Yeah, definitely we can talk about this. And we could also utilize this group to explain to the people what we came up with. So let's talk, yeah? So anyway, with this Andorra Park Hotel, as I said, we had this big strategic plan. We made it work for 2 years. Then I don't know what happened after that, because I came to Australia to have a better life, I guess. But the last thing we started planning, and that's just giving you an idea of how far we can go. And that was so... They had these amazing installations in the hotel and super big kitchen. And the chefs were, every season they were creating new menus. So back then in Spain, there was this massive trend that was all about chef shows. So the Master Chef, everyone I guess knows about that. So we wanted to do our own version in Andorra. And instead of just getting involved just potential talents, our main difference was getting associated with the hospitality school in the country and partner up with different schools in Spain and Catalonia. So we could just run a TV show because we had all the resources, and just get them to come every let's say week or month to Andorra, and just do a TV show competition where there would be a winner. And we wanted to integrate that with the whole program of the different hospitality schools, right? So we basically started working on the whole thing. We got more than 5-6 schools involved. They were super keen on bringing all these different chefs to Andorra, and that would have been massive. The only thing that there was kind of a budget issue. It was becoming very expensive because that was TV production. We kind of didn't manage, I guess, to put this program right into the Andorra television channel just for, I guess, for free, or there was a whole commercial issue and it didn't happen. But the idea and the concept was great, and we worked on it very hard, and then, not all projects end up being successful. But anyway, just wrapping up, if you want to do your strategy, you need to think of how your business is different, come up with eventually a benchmarking plan, and find your 0.02%, as my friend Lou McGregor in the Gold Coast and Amazing Branding Strategies, she says that we need to find our 0.02% of our DNA in our brand. Once we have done all this benchmarking, we need to think out of the box, and we need to think not just what we want to be, but what is the present conception, on our audience mindset. Because, as I said, for this brand, it meant luxury, and we needed to break up with this concept. And our best way to not just give traffic to the installation, but to get people to think differently about the place, was just to do our events. So the events were really a combination of PR strategy, content writing, content creation, audiovisuals, advertising. So we combine different types of marketing including events, and we came up with a super good solution. And Andorra Park Hotel was successful because it created traffic through the whole year. It had a lot of contents and things to talk about. And yeah, it was a very good experience. And what I can tell you nowadays is that the magazine that we started and for which I created 3 or 4 editions, I can't remember exactly, it's still running, and it's a profitable magazine nowadays, and it's the only magazine that talks about food in the country. So that's quite amazing, and that's the cool things that you can come up with when you do a good strategy for your business and for your marketing. So, Sarah, thank you again for commenting. So, I was approached to the pilot for a reality TV show, which would be amazing publicity, but I'm not sure if I'm ready for that yet. Well, I'm going to tell you something, Sarah. I thought I also wasn't ready to start this group and just talk every day in front of a camera. And a lot of these things are just fear-based. And we can do a lot of work together to break through those fears, because at the end of the day, it is just a self-judgment you might have about yourself, right? Like I'm going to be very honest with you. You know that my first language is in English. I'm Spanish speaker. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to find out about my accent. I speak so loud and hear people speak slowly and smoothly. And I love that, but then I realized that everyone was thinking that what I thought was my weakness is actually my strength. And that's what people like the most about me, my energy, my naturality, my authenticity, right? And if I was afraid of all these things, I wouldn't have I started this channel. I wouldn't really get into a whole a media platform for ethical business where all the contents are in English, right? So we can do some work on that. It is really great that you were approached to do a TV show. I think that has a lot of potential, and I don't think you realize about that. That could be massive for your business. And also, it could make all your dreams become true, because I know you have an amazing idea behind the clothes library to make it huge and massive. So doing a TV show, I can tell you now, it's going to be a very good PR strategy for you. So let's have a chat if you want to, and we can come up with many, many different ways to utilize that and also work out in something that makes you feel comfortable, because at the end of the day, that's part of your DNA. Okay, so anyway, thank you everyone for being so amazing. Hope you had a look at one of our rules in this group, which is practicing self-care. That's what I do every morning before I jump into this live chat. I do a bit of cycling, a bit of yoga, and a bit of meditation. Super important if you want to keep running your business. As Sarah also says on the last interview, one of the best things is breathing and drinking water. This is the amazing bottle that I got as a present from Roberto. He's running the life-changing shop, so he sells all kind of good stuff, ethical and eco-friendly for moms and babies and people who wants to have a better lifestyle. So thank you for this. It's beautiful. Pop up to his store. I'm going to drop off a link. Also, I wanted to say I had an amazing start of the day because I had a podcast interview with another of the members. His name is Andrew Leving, and he's got a podcast that is, it's called Think for Blue. I'm going to drop off a comment, and I'll probably share the podcast we had today together. It's going to be featured tomorrow. And and we've talked about different ways that we could collaborate together, and we're thinking of starting a podcast. He's an amazing podcaster, and you see that's a good way that we could collaborate, because he's got all the knowledge behind podcasting. He's got already a successful podcast. And I've got a Medium platform, and because I don't have time to do all the different things that I'm doing, we're probably going to partner up together and do something that can get us scaling more quickly and eventually monetizing without one person running the business feeling they have to do everything, right? So that is strategy as well. So, what is the plan for the rest of the week? I've prepared a one-page strategic business sketch. So you can, and I'm going to record that on a video and publish that afterwards. So I can just share my screen with you and show how you fill that in. And hopefully you can use that as a resource for your business. That's all for free. And it's super important you do that exercise because it will help you to find out what exactly your business is about. Because sometimes we start a business and then we forget about what our real mission is. And the most important thing is that you can do that for any business, even if it's a social enterprise or it's not a social enterprise. And I'm going to tell you how you can interweave your business strategy with your business mission and have a clear picture of what that all is about. So that's probably going to be live tomorrow. And also I'm going to design like a calendar that I'm going to stick to every week, and more or less Mondays I'm going to talk a bit about what our limitations are or things that we're not good at, and eventually you also want to participate, so I can find a bit more about you and understand what kind of knowledge in marketing you need to develop. On Tuesdays, I guess I'm going to talk about, as I'm doing today, about a very specific type of marketing. On Wednesdays, I'd like to run live sessions with brands that are out there and analyze what they're doing and how they can improve in marketing. And then Thursdays, I'm going to share with you a supportive template. And Fridays, probably I'm going to talk about the trends in the sector and what are all the important things you need to know about. So thank you so much for joining today. I am very happy that you became part of this podcast, and have a lovely day ahead. Sorry about this live chat video. I'm still thinking of the podcast I did this morning because it was quite amazing. And thank you so much for everyone for tuning in, and live life and be happy.